से जुड़ी किसी भी छोटी या बड़ी अपडेट के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें स्पोर्ट्स तक और साथ ही किसी भी नोटिफिकेशन को पाने के लिए बेल आइकन को दबाना ना भूलें।
Absolute backsides off and we're trying to get better. We can't help at the moment that we haven't got Michael Hussey's and Michael Bevins and Jamie Cox's. It's fantasy. We've got what we've got and our playing group are working as hard as we possibly can to improve and get better.
In Perth, but where do you think the turning point for the series was?
I think the obvious one was the Adelaide Test. We honestly feel that we let that Test match slip. We thought we had a number of opportunities during that Test to go well ahead of the game, and when those key moments came up, India outplayed us, to be honest. Looking back now, we had won that Test. If you win Perth, we got outplayed in Melbourne. Then you have a washout. It could have been 2-1 the other way. So it's funny in a big series of 4 tests, 5 days a match. You go back to a couple of key moments in the very first Test match where we let ourselves down or India outplayed us, and you get to the end of the series and it's really hard to take.
Looking ahead to how much of the group that played here in this series?
I'm not sure. We haven't spoken about that yet. We were focusing in on today. We wanted to turn up today and make a really good account of ourselves as a batting group. Fortunately, we didn't get to do that, but we'll have conversations in the next day or two, I'm sure, and guys will decide then.
Tim, how are you feeling at the moment? How are the other players feeling? What do you say to them?
Yeah, we're really disappointed. We know we had some guys missing, but we honestly felt coming into this series that in Australia in particular we could beat India. But as I said, throughout the series, more often than not, when those big moments came up, Virat scored 100 or Pujara scored runs or Bumrah bowled a great spell, and we couldn't quite get through those moments, and that's how you win Test matches, and that's why India won this series. They stood up. Their best players stood up in the big moments, or when they were falling behind in a game, one of their good players dragged them back into the contest, or when they were in front, their good players put the foot on us and took us out of the game like they did here in Melbourne, Sydney and Melbourne. So, look, we can learn a lot from the way they went about it. We've got to make sure we do, and have a week off and come back to the Sri Lanka series. And as we've said a number of times, making sure we keep trying to get better, and everyone in our group is trying to do that. And we've got faith that the guys we've got around the team are the right guys. We've just got to keep putting some faith and trust in them, and they're learning on the job a bit, but I think we'll get there.
And just with the other guys as well, like, do you have a job? Do you need to pull them up? Are they already bouncing back themselves? How are they handling it? What do you do for them?
Oh yeah, everyone's different. I think this one's been slightly different. You kind of had a few days knowing that we probably weren't going to win this Test match and the series was gone. So there's always conversations going on in rain breaks, and how you can get better, and where we've lost and what we're looking forward to as a group. So again, we get the great thing about Test cricket is in 2 weeks we get another chance to go out and play some better cricket. We know we have to play better cricket. We know India outplayed us and deserved to win this series, so we've got to accept that. We've got to be honest with that. We've got to look at the areas where we need to improve, and we'll have those chats in the next day or two.
Tim, Mitchell Johnson said over the weekend that the bowlers should probably be under a bit of pressure for the next Test against Sri Lanka. It's been a long time since that was the case. He said that maybe there is merit in looking at resting someone like Mitchell Starc. Do you think that's something that will have to be considered before that next Test?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. Again, we'll have that conversation in the next couple of days. I think all the bowlers are fully fit. I think our bowlers at times bowled really well in this series. At times they didn't. Sometimes that was due to the pressure they were put under by the Indian batsmen, and that can happen. But I think the group of bowlers that we've got in this team have been fantastic for Australia for quite a while now. And they didn't have their absolute best series, but it's not easy at this level, and it can happen.
You probably just after a bit more from the experience, but out this series in Sean and Usman, where does that leave Sean? Because I know that you've spoken about that problem.
Yep.
There's not a lot of guys with experience in the side.
Yep.
Where do you think he's placed looking towards this next series and the Ashes?
Yeah, I don't think it was just those two. I think everyone in our top 7 didn't play as well as we would have liked. I thought Marcus Harris and Travis Head, I think Travis Head was our leading run scorer for the series, and Marcus Harris, in most innings he played, showed that he can make it at this level. He can be a very good test player, so got some positive there. The rest of us didn't score enough runs, so to put that on Uzi and Sean is probably a little bit harsh, but again, both of those players we know are absolute class. We know they can score a lot of runs at this level, so we've got faith with them going forward, and as I said, for selection stuff it'll go on in the next few days, and at the moment I'm not in a place to sort of comment on it.
Tim, do you think there are areas where you have come out of this series better off, or do you feel roughly in the same place as you were when it started, or perhaps a little worse off from
No, I think, again, from a batting point of view, if you look at what Marcus Harris and Travis Head have been able to do, I think they're two examples of guys who might not have played any Test cricket at this stage, and they've got an opportunity through an unusual situation, and I thought both of those guys acquitted themselves really well. The other thing, this attack was seriously good, and I don't think in Australia we've given them enough credit for how relentless. The 3 quicks bowl pretty good pace. They're relentless in their pressure. They don't give you much. So it was hard work batting against their attack for seasoned Test players. So for Marcus Harris and Travis Head in particular to show that they've got the games that can make runs against the best attack in the world, I think that's a real positive.
You mentioned learning from things before and lessons. What, like in terms of like looking at the Ashes, what do you think the batsman can take away in terms of confronting like really quality bowling?
Look, I think again it's the experience at this level that those guys have got now that they wouldn't have got. So if we get to the Ashes next year and Marcus Harris is playing and Travis Head's playing and Marnus is playing, they understand now the pressure and I suppose the magnitude of the situation that's on them. I think you don't experience that anywhere but when you walk out into Test cricket. So for them to now have experienced that, they now go away, go home, they train, but they know what to expect and they know where they need to improve to succeed at this level. And I don't think we can look to England just yet. We've got to play Sri Lanka first, and that in itself is going to be another tough series for us. But as I said, there's some positives in now getting some of these guys some Test cricket and some experience at this level against an absolute high quality attack, which is going to hold them in really good stead for the future. Yeah.
Said for those on the fringe of the team, do you think that's an area that can improve, or from your dealings is it sort of all fine?
I've personally never had an issue, so I think the selectors are doing their best to communicate with everyone. I'm not sure at times, when players get dropped from teams, they're normally not too happy, so it's a difficult situation for everyone to be in, but certainly in my experience, it's been fine. I'm not sure. I think it's probably different for each individual, but clearly we know we're not going to win too many Test matches without scoring hundreds. So it's a huge focus of any Test match batsman. That's what you're judged on. But as I said, Marcus Harris and Travis Head showed, and Marnus in the first innings here showed that they can score hundreds, they can score runs at Test cricket. So, I think sometimes it's difficult when it seems so far away, but there's 3 guys there that are 1 innings away from, I think, really breaking through, and we know they've got the ability to do so. We've seen that. We had so many starts as a batting lineup this series. It's just a bit of experience and learning how to convert those, and as I said, getting through tough periods of play and tough spells.
Tim, just following up on Robbie's question, over the years different Australian captains have wanted to be selectors, others haven't wanted to be selectors, given that selection is the major talking point at the moment. You've got so much experience playing in state cricket and so on. Do you think this would be a decent time for you to go on and become a selector as well? Is that something you'd like to do?
Not really, no. I've got enough on my plate at the moment. So, look, I'm happy when I'm asked my opinion, I'll give it. I'm happy with that as it is at the moment. And as for down the track, I wouldn't mind to crack at it in about 4 or 5 years. That'd be nice.
India seems to have no problem with changing the team even when they're doing their actions.
Yep.
They're taking the same 11 more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a sort of topical view on whether picking and sticking and retaining and building a group is better than bringing in fresh players to form a specific role on a specific surface?
Yeah, I think you need to try and keep your squad together, but I think you need to have different options in your squad to be able to win tests on different surfaces. There's no doubt about that. So, it's ideal if you've got a team where you can keep going with the same 11 and they play well on every surface. But at the moment in Australia, we've got a situation where we probably do need to chop and change occasionally to get the best combination of players, and I think India do that really well. And one thing that helps with that is having great depth, and they certainly seem to have that at the moment.